Howdy healers, welcome to Zero to KSM Hero, a series where I'll be attempting the Keystone Master Challenge in patch 9.1.5 on a brand new healer. The rules are simple. For the Alliance, least favored healer, least popular covenant, only moderate help from main character allowed, no linking Raider IO to main character, hugging only, and finally the challenge must be finished before posting the first video to avoid any external help or assistance, and of course for the sake of integrity. Welcome in everyone. Today we're back on our bullshit trying to get some more timed dungeons. So I'm not going to actually include very much of this first one, dungeon number 47. I haven't really been announcing the number, but this is number 47 and we have I think 93. So anyway, with this one, the tank disconnected literally when the timer hit 0. He even pulled mobs, but the second that timer hit 0, he just Alt F4'd out of the game. Coincidence? I think not. I don't really want to include the whole dungeon because it's just a slew of, leading up to something that doesn't even show up on Raider IO and that you can't even, there's no proof anywhere except the video footage that it even happened, of course. We didn't complete the dungeon because nobody had a tank spec, and unfortunately that's just the way it is. My personal opinion about this is that if you're going to quit when the timer hits 0, just quit when you realize that the dungeon isn't going to be timed and don't waste everybody's time. It's frustrating because it was pretty clear early on in the dungeon that this run was probably not going to be timed. Just basically based off of the fact that we had 18 minutes left on the timer when the first boss went down. Yeah, it was a rough dungeon. That's putting it nicely. So, disappointing that the tank disconnected on purpose when we had 2 pulls left in the whole dungeon. But what can you do? I did shit talk him a little bit to the rest of the group. It was one of those cases where this was right after the Mage Tower came out, and at first when I was seeing people with the bear skin, it was oh, hell yeah, we're gonna have a good time. And then quickly I realized that, no, actually, half the people that have this either bought it or they're just really, really good at memorizing steps. Yeah, so if you have the bear form from the Mage Tower and you're actually a really good player, my apologies, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the people that just, anybody could beat their head against an encounter 350 times and, maybe eventually luck into it or memorize it, but it doesn't actually make you, a good player. It is, after all, a scripted fight. That said, you won't see me trying to get it. That just isn't my cup of tea. I know that I'm not that skilled of a player in the first place. Anyway, the plus 12 mists fell apart, of course, and we move on to an 11 Plaguefall. Alright, so we have an interesting group here, and my favorite part about it, if you can't tell, if it didn't just quite hit ya, is that it's got 2 paladins in it, as well as me. So that's nice for me, except for the part where I get stuck on the wall, I guess. Because obviously my deepest desire and hope is that this means that they'll do some cleansing. Will that happen? I actually don't remember off the top of my head, so we'll see. I think I could have saved the hunter if I would have moved a little bit faster. This first pull is what you might call rough. Good thing I found a mage earlier, before doing this. Definitely need the drinkage. And here I want to drink because we have like a Tormentor coming up, and I definitely don't want to be stuck like with no mana and then pulling the Tormentor. Because I could probably heal through these guys. There's not another Inspiring like right here. So I feel pretty confident that the Paladins will stun. It's just, or even the Rogue. But what I don't feel confident in is that they'll think to let me drink before pulling the Tormentor, so. I finally felt slightly more confident. I guess enough to do some damage. That first pull was pretty rough. It shook me up a little bit. Alright, we got our boy here. This was, I should say, was probably my least favorite Tormentor guy. He's just really frustrating to heal. I guess not that bad with Paladins, like, the Ret Paladin can just bubble themselves if they get desperate, but we have really good damage for like, this patch, I guess, so it went alright. I waited as long as I could to to heal. That wasn't too bad. Alright, so while we're like having fun clearing in front of the boss, I actually just did a Plaguefall +4 on my Frost Mage, and I had the most wholesome and yet also frustrating experience. So I invited some people to my group, some of whom didn't really have much of a Mythic Plus score. Why not give them a chance, you know? So it becomes clear, like, pretty much right out of the gate that the tank doesn't really know any of the standard routes. Maybe he made his own in Mythic Dungeon Tools, but he went pretty slow, so I think he didn't really know what he was doing or how to get trash count. So we start doing the fights, and it was clear he didn't know to move the boss from the big slime and all that other stuff. Kind of made me think he was doing these off of off of Heroic maybe, and not realizing that there was like a different mechanic attached to some of the bosses. He didn't know the mechanic for like any of the bosses except the last one, and even then he didn't seemed to know that he needed to soak the ad, that green circle that the ad puts down. He didn't know he needed to soak it. So anyway, we wiped a couple of times. We wiped on the guy that jumps around. Oh, I'm like looking right at the damn screen. I mean, I could tell you it's Dr. Ickis, right? We wiped on Ickis, and then because we pulled him with trash on accident, and somebody died like right out of the gate, so we ended up wiping. And then the second time the tank pulled him with trash again, on purpose, but it was confusing, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know like why he did that, but we were fine. I just popped time warp, you know. Like at a certain point, like as soon as we pulled more trash again with the boss, I was like, ah, it's time warp time. Let's do the time warp again. So then we wiped on Stradama because they had too many people standing in tentacles, which you'd think is like not happening anymore. But in this 4 key, apparently it was happening. But we still timed it somehow. And at the end of the dungeon, the hunter thanked me for teaching. Thank you for teaching, is what they said. And I was like, oh, this is a really nice group. And the paladin healer, they were struggling a little bit, I could tell. So I made sure to like remind the warlock to put down the soul well again, and like for people to use health stones to help them out, especially on the infectious rain, because that's really hard to heal for anybody. And Paladin not having anything to hit maybe to generate any holy power is probably even a little bit harder for them sometimes. So, you know, we were all making the effort, like, you know, I ice blocked an infectious rain and all that stuff. And it went really well, so I whispered him and said, you know, that he did really good healing and, you know, sorry that it was a bit rough. You know, everybody on ults or they, you know, just trying it out for the first time. Like, he was a trooper, you know, he didn't rage quit or anything. And then he messaged me back to tell me thanks, he was trying really hard and like Paladin's kind of different to learn. He normally plays like a shaman. So that was really cool. Like people branching out, trying new stuff. It was a good old time. A nice wholesome experience. So far this dungeon is fine too. I wouldn't call it wholesome, but it's not bad either. You know when someone's bouncing around, they mean business. This dungeon's going so decently, it's almost like I didn't just end up leaving a bad experience. Wish they'd buff Crackling Jade Lightning, though. From what I've heard, it's not even good for explosive. You can tell that I don't, like, use it. Or, I shouldn't say that. I don't do explosive week. Or I haven't yet. Boy, is it nice when people don't get hit by stuff. Smooth. I'll be honest with you, I just don't have anything to say. The run is going so incredibly smooth. Like, the first pull was a little rough, but it's not like, you know, we wiped or anything even. It was just a little spooky. As inspiring usually is. I think I told my group earlier that on this boss they needed to find a friend. It's some Bob Ross stuff right there. Alright, we're at the last boss. Enemy forces at 100%. Will we time it? Will we plus 2 it? Damn, that Ret Paladin's pumping. One thing I will say about this boss that I, like, absolutely cannot stand is the phasing. It drives me nuts. I mean, I guess I appreciate that the only phase where you get the tentacles and the boss at the same time, and therefore Infectious Rain and the tentacles at the same time, is phase 3. But still, sometimes I just wish you could just nuke her down. Bosses that phase a lot, just, I don't think they're fun. Not when it happens too much. Like, I would argue in the other side it's kind of fun, because it requires, like, a big team effort. But, like, dodging tentacles isn't team effort. It's just like, eh. This team is full of pros. So far, like, nobody's gotten hit by a tentacle. Or even, like, looked at a tentacle weird. This is an 11. I think I mentioned that at the beginning, but I hate that it glitches out over there and you can't tell what level it is. I was actually thinking about getting rid of the quest tracker because I can't stand that it does that. Look at that. So fast, so speedy. That went very well. We plus 2'd it. Good job to us. No loot, but that's okay. Sometimes that happens. Alright, so if you were tired of Plaguefall, I am so sorry. We are going back into the there. Into that place. The place of plague. I joined this Shadow Priest's group, and then he invited this pre-made that signed up that consisted of the tank and the other 2 DPS. Started off somewhat positively. The mage puts down a feast, so that was really nice of them, and we get things going. I'm feeling pretty positive about this because the tank has a very high IO score. So far, nothing too crazy is happening. The tank seems to be... I don't want to say understanding, but he seems to be aware that, like, maybe the group isn't capable of a big pool. Which is a bit of a relief after the last dungeon, and the first pool is a bit scary. This one is a 13, by the way. Alright, so that wasn't so bad. Now remember, it is Inspiring Week, so we're prepared to, you know, suffer a little bit here. Shadow Priest is dispelling the Wonder Grow, so that's pretty nice. Now I'm gonna get a snack so I don't suffer. Again, same kind of reasoning. I don't want to just assume that they're gonna wait for me when it comes time to pull the Tormentor. And the Tormentor can be a little hard to heal through. I should be getting a little bit, I should be doing a little bit more in terms of damage here. This priest even, like, feared to break the storming from the Stormer. That's pretty cool. Alright, tank is paying attention. So that's good. He doesn't have to tell me to get mana, by the way. I do know I will sit and drink. But sometimes I'd rather that they, like, make their intentions known, I guess. But I should have run right in as soon as possible and gotten Mystic Touch up on the mobs. Even though I know that the tank's damage isn't, like, incredible or anything. It's still better than nothing. Like, you know, it's more damage than I'm doing right now, which is 0. But I never claimed to not be cringe, so... So you'll catch some glimpses of their RP profile now and then. Alright. We run up to fight this guy. And somehow the mage pulled these guys. I didn't want to let the Shadow Priest die, and in fact, if I was doing it over again, I would have probably cocooned him to save him. And that's like my bad there, right? I didn't stack. So immediately we have this, like, embarrassing situation. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. We go again. And luckily it, like, saves the mob's health at, you know, where it was. So that's kind of a relief, honestly, with this guy. Ah, jeez. This is maybe the point where I was like, so this is what we're in for. I remember this run quite well. Not like 100%, but I do remember it better than I wish I did. So Tank's playing it safe here. He's not pulling, like, the whole room. I would argue we're a little light on ways to stop the slimy morsels. Like, just a little bit. I can leg sweep them, which I do, but it doesn't... It's not, like, the best. And Ring of Peace is still on cooldown. Alright, here's the first boss. Let's give it a shot. See how it goes. I don't want to use Revival here because... the honest truth is that I'll probably need it later. I should have just cocooned the mage. But, like, also they should have never been standing that far back. The biggest issue here is, I mean, besides the fact that the mage died, like, we have limited CC. Like, very limited CC for these guys. And the mage and the balance druid are not standing in melee, and they should be, so, like, if you're ranged, you should always be just standing up in melee for this fight. Mostly because if you're standing too far out and he does the cone on you, it's like you can't get away from it because it's no matter how good your movement is, he's just too wide. Alright, so that took a hot minute, and our Shadow Priest did, like, by far the most damage on a boss fight. I have a Shackle Undead. Unfortunately, he got a little too close to the Plague Rock, so that got pulled. Shouldn't be a big deal, in theory. Plague Rock does some damage, but this is only a 13. Tank did dodge the wing buffet, so that's cool. We'll take it. We're not that picky, right? Alright, so right away we see a problem here. Where our ranged, we have two of them standing way too close to those mobs for my liking. And I should cocoon somebody, is what I should have done. But, like, also, range should never, ever, ever be standing that close to those slimes. Ever. And even if you're melee, if you notice that you're starting to get your ass beat, you should probably just run. Alright, so I saw that the others were rezzing, and I was like, alright, well, I'll drink then. And here they are again. Standing right up on there. I should dispel one of them, is what I should do to make my life easier, but we have the balance druid getting the disease also. And I'm like, get that freaking thing away from me! Like, look at him just standing as close as possible. Like, look, I know you want to fleshcraft it, bro, but please stand back. Whee! Our mage went for a ride. I'm a little bit wasteful with mana here for no reason. I guess it's just one of those things. I also should be just getting Mystic Touch up. Nothing about these guys is that scary. I Fort Brewed like after I ran over it, so that's different. Cringe. For an all-ranged group, we do have quite a few interrupts going out, which is awesome. Alright, we have the usual strat.
A great evil lurks nearby. Expel it with haste.
I'm ignoring that I, like, took 5 seconds to get up that stupid ramp, by the way. That was embarrassing. We got one interrupt going out. there. We're doing okay. We're doing okay. Except for that. And this. Imagine not knowing where your interrupt button is. I guess I didn't need to be a bitch, but it gets frustrating. You know what I mean? I was very frustrated at this point. But we press on. I'd say I should definitely be helping with, like, damage, but at the same time, like, if you're missing my, like, 1k damage to do something in this game, I don't think it's a me problem. Alright, so this is going super well, as you can see. Rip.
Next specimen! At least you were useful test subjects.
Technically not a wipe. Guilty as charged. Sometimes you just gotta rant a little bit. I guess too bad about his key. Looking at the damage on the boss, it's like they all died close to the same time. And then, like, the mage dies coming back. If this was my key now, I'd just leave. I'd be like, well, it's not even worth finishing it now. We still have, like, 2 bosses. We're gonna be, like, 10 minutes over time. And that's if things go smoothly. And seeing how the mage and the balance druid just kind of, like, stood out in the middle of the slime for no reason is, like... yeah, it's not really worth my time. But also this run back on this dungeon is brutal. I really wish the mini boss was the checkpoint instead of this boss. Alright, that went a little bit better this time. On we go. 2.5 minutes left on the timer. We know we're not gonna time this bad boy. Alright. Our Shadow Priest is a gamer. He is dispelling. Unlike our mage. We're running out of places to stand. Look at those deaths.
The Mars dark magic coalesces here. Remove it at the source.
This is just not our day. And I pulled the tentacle. I don't know why it took me so long to release. I think I was like, well, I don't know, but looking at it now, I'm like, I should have just released. You know, we just took down the last boss. It's an easy run back. Just do it. The tank's probably not gonna die, but, like, he's also not gonna kill the... Alright, timer depleted. 20 deaths on the board. That one was my fault, though. Alright, I should cocoon the mage. But it looks like I don't even know what I'm doing. I must be in a bad mood. That's my guess. I have never in my life more wanted to tell people to uninstall the fucking game. How, actually? The how is because I unmuted myself to shit talk these people. It's my bad. So there's nothing worse than, like, yelling at people because they play like shit, and then because you're so mad that they're playing like shit, you play like shit. It's an experience. I don't recommend it, though. Like, my suggestion is just don't say bad things about anybody. It's usually not worth it. Not during the dungeon, anyway. Save it for later. Recorded, posted on YouTube or something. I don't know. Most of my experiences aren't bad. The priest is not awful by any means. He's the only one who knows what's fucking going on. I was in such a bad mood. It feels like I don't. Two of us actually do. Need I say more? It gets to be one of those things where if you're gonna invite somebody and offer to carry them, you really need to be joining a group that specifically has people in it that can carry. I literally just want this boss to die. At least they're doing the mechanic. Got it. Like, damn, my +4 Plaguefall didn't feel this bad. I mean, we timed it. Maybe that's why. Tank basically had, like, a great route, though. I mean, it was straightforward, but, you know, we hit count at the, like, basically right time. So that's pretty cool. Alright, we're almost done. We're almost free. Alright, well, one thing that you do always know here is when the ad spawns that the tentacles that by the ad will be a safe spot. Every time. I should cocoon somebody here is what I should do. Probably even just me. Mostly because it would save me some mana. Of course. Cringe. I'm cringe. It's me. I'm the bad one. And then I revival too fast. But that's alright, because, you know, it may have still been for the best. Can't even make fun of Mage. Because I did it. I got cocky. Stay humble, y'all. I don't know why I did that. Alright, well, we finished it, but at what cost? But I can't wait to get the hell out of here. That much, I do know. But first, I do want to kind of talk about this run a little bit. I was maybe a little dramatic in how bad it was. However, looking at the avoidable damage taken overall by the group, somebody sticks out. That said, I don't really want to harp on it because I was just getting mad and I was playing pretty terribly myself. Something, something, throwing rocks, glass houses, something, something. So let's jump into a +10 Theater of Pain and see how it goes. Hilariously enough, I actually turned on commentary for this one, so enjoy live commentary, I guess. I can't promise it'll be good, though. I lied. I think I'm gonna turn commentary on. Because, I don't know, it could be interesting. We good with all 4? I don't know that I've even been in a group where they pulled all 4. Maybe. In, like, a lower key. So, I don't know how it's gonna go, but if people aren't standing in stupid stuff, I think it'll be fine. And also, since the druid knows what Scithe is, we're ahead of like 90% of other groups. Let's go.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Is that a waste to put those on there? Maybe.
Welcome, one and all, to the theater of pain! It seems these upstarts think they can compete with the best combatants in all of Maldraxxus! Ha! I'll believe it when I see it!
Wow, the sheer, like,
Either way,
little amount of damage is incredible.
bring in the challengers!
That was easy.
Let the blood
Now I eat for a hot second. Just in case. This group seems pretty good, though. I gotta keep an eye out for that. It's not that person.
My blade will feast on your soul.
Man, somebody else got her.
Revenge! Me.
Who's the pumper? Oh, that's the Windwalker. Dang. Windwalker is good. Got it. I did one job. It wasn't much, but... Oh, but the Windwalker tried to get it too. I love that.
Your agony should prove enlightening.
It's too far away.
Okay, so that's like the least amount of damage that anybody has ever taken on that fight. Honest, like, seriously. I mean, granted, it's a tin, but...
unexpected! It seems our little pups have some fight after all! Now that the preliminary...
These are good. I mean, granted, that damage is pretty good. Like, even the tank doing 3.5k. Like, my crappy 133. Look, I'm a healer. No, that's not the stance that I'm gonna take. But
approach a powerful servant
my
of the
opinion is
universe.
that in these pug groups, doing a lot of damage is just really hard for me. Like, you've seen some of the groups that I've got. Like, it just isn't feasible.
Take the beast's power. You will need it for the dangers
Let's
of
go. Stone Ward. My favorite. Also, it's just my opinion, but before you come into one of these 10 pluses, like, you should kind of look up what all the powers are and figure out which ones that you should be grabbing. Before, you know, because I had a couple groups where people were just kind of standing there, like, oh, what do I pick? I have to choose. And it's like, you should kind of know what you want before, you know, before you come in. Oh, sorry. I didn't realize he pulled it. I'm pretty much going to take the same powers every time. Also, I wasn't paying attention there. I was too busy spacing off, which was my bad. Actually, I wish the you eat faster power was always like the first one. I want to get away from that. Boy, I could sure use that. See, look. You could be like the coolest rogue ever, but like, be careful about starting combat before the tank has aggro. Looks cool as hell. I'm getting nervous because I know the Altars of Agony are coming up, and I am what you might call bad at that. Do love this power. Wish I got the eat faster power at the beginning of the dungeon and not like the end. It's pretty much like every dungeon. It's like, oh, do you want to take this at the very end? In some cases, yes. Alright, now my hands are getting sweaty because I know what's coming. I'm not great at commentating. Commentating? Just because, honestly, like, the more stressful stuff gets, like, the more I need to concentrate on what I'm actually doing. And then my commentary would be worthless anyway. It's the anxiety. I need my balls. Cool. Free meat! These people are gods.
The creature is slain.
I'm a pleb.
Claim its power
Eat food
as
faster.
your own.
Ready? Neat. I mean, I kind of thought it would, but you just never know when something you expect will work doesn't work. Alright. Now. Me, at me. Stand in melee. It's better. Whoop.
It's too far away.
These people are gods, actually.
I'm out of range.
Look at that shit. Alright, the next platform constitutes everything. My hands are so sweaty, like I can't even explain my palms. Knees weak, palms are sweaty, arms spaghetti, whatever. I'm sweaty. Oh, I stood in the circle. That's what they do. But you can stand in it for a little bit. With a good group. That ain't bad. It kind of just tells me that, like, the groups where you had, like, full melee or whatever and they're still standing in it, it's like, just stand anywhere else. It's fine. This boss is easy. Easy clap.
Souls are mine to claim.
I kind of wish I got the grasping whatever. You're fine. I got you.
I will rip your soul from your body. There is no escape. Let your fears consume you.
I'm lazy and I don't want to heal myself.
Will rip your soul from your body.
I actually find it easier to heal DPS here, but that's because I'm not doing any kick weaving or whatever.
No escape for you.
And honestly, it's not that I don't enjoy kick weaving, like obviously I think it's really fun,
I will rip your soul from your body.
but I'm a chicken. In these pug groups, if it was like a normal dungeon, I'd probably, you know, fist weave a lot, but in these, the chance that I'm gonna stand in something stupid and or tunnel on DPS is like high. I'd rather just keep my group topped off and let them do whatever. It also enables like maybe a really good DPS to like soak a mechanic or two. Which sounds stupid, but they're gonna do more DPS than me if they can just... Listen, my luck, I would like roll off there and then like literally die. Just splat. Return to the central chamber. I'm working on it. I'm very mobile and cool. Oh, I could CC break myself. That would be funny. I hate this fight. But it's better than, I wish Worgans could just stay in like running wild. That'd be cool.
My magic reaches beyond your mortal ken. Reality turns its ire against you. All whom you have slain cry out for vengeance.
Let's top the group off.
My magic reaches beyond death itself demands your souls.
That was so close. I almost ate that. Alright, so that concludes my Theater of Pain plus 10. A nice, smooth, wholesome run. Honestly, really good. My commentary was, I don't know, maybe a little lackluster, but I was doing it like live for the first time, and I don't think it was too bad for that. So there may be more of that. I actually don't remember. My brain doesn't work correctly, so just kind of forget stuff constantly. Um, we'll see if there's more of that in store for the next episode. In the meantime, let's look at our bingos because we've got a couple of those. All right, so let's start off with painful bingo. We did get someone drops group when they realize we won't time. That was the first key. And it was like very literal. So literally the second they realized that the timer was at 0, they just dropped. It's like they planned it, which is a little irritating, but what can you do? And we also got tank joins trying to carry DPS friends. I do think that they were definitely carrying the mage more than the balance druid, but they were both a carry of some kind. It seems that they didn't really 100% know the fights. Maybe they were being told what to do in like another chat. But you'd think if somebody was telling you like in a Discord call or something that the run would have been pretty smooth actually, but it wasn't, so I don't know what was going on there. As far as wholesome bingo goes, I think I'm gonna go ahead and give us the one where someone in the group is a gamer who is gaming. And I'm gonna give that to the Shadow Priest in the really awful Plaguefall because that guy was using abilities and he made sure to be announcing when things like Vampiric Embrace were up and all kinds of stuff. So that was really nice and useful. Like, yeah, he stood in some stuff or whatever, but he was doing, I think, his best to be good at the game and to try his hardest at the game. So that was cool. He deserves it. He's someone who is a gamer who is gaming. Love to see it. Unfortunately, that's all we have time for today. So until next time, you guys, take care of yourselves and happy healing.